Today on the Heart and Soul Elevation podcast, who needs Cheetos when you've got checklists? Welcome to the Heart and Soul Elevation podcast, where faith meets wellness and women learn to live aligned spirit, mind, and body. We're your hosts, Melissa Holman
and Stephanie Pazniokis, two Jesus loving women passionate about helping you steward your health without losing sight of the one who gave it to you.
Around here, healing happens in community.
Scripture leads the way, and science simply confirms what God designed.
Let's elevate your heart and soul together.
Oh,
I
boy.
I love checking things off of my list. When I clean the house, I will write down every single thing I'm going to do, not just clean the kitchen, clean the bathroom, but clean the kitchen. And then I will have sub things that I can start checking off. Wipe off the counters, clean the sink, sweep the floor, mop the floor, clean the stove, wipe down I will literally write down every single thing that I'm going to do so that I can check it off. I love checking things off my list. How about you?
Well, I have a funny little story. When my youngest was 7, we still have this list. She had this little, it's our little normal, I don't have one here, which is a shocker, but a little yellow notepad in her pencil, and she didn't even spell checklist right, but she said do chores, CHORSE. She didn't even know how to spell. Then she had her first checklist. She's been doing checklists and doing chores and getting stuff done since day one. So I don't know who she learned that from. It might have been both her father and myself. I have to say, might have to own that one. But yes, I love checklists. I have planners full of checklists.
Mm-hmm.
It helps me think, and it feels good to say I did that thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
And so there's something good about them.
I like to get things out of my head
Hmm.
and onto paper, not on my phone, not on my computer, but onto paper so that I can see it instead of have to remember it.
Yeah. I
T-
mean, what is it? What is a list but an external hard drive?
exactly.
I mean, we've got wetware up here and it gets full and it can get messy,
Gummy.
but it can
Gets
get
a little
gummy.
gummy.
It can get distracted. I mean, it's really a superpower of, what it can do and what it can do well. And our brain is fantastic at automating things. But when we're trying to get these things done, it really helps our brain and helps our nervous system to write things down so that our brain doesn't sit there at 3 in the morning and go, you said you were going to remember the thing and you forgot it and you're up and you're like, crap, right? Because our brain is always going to try to remind us of those things because it thinks that we needed them to survive. We thinks we needed to do the dishes in order to survive. We've decided to say the dishes are really important. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
remind us if we don't do them. Um, that's just a silly example. But so listing, I call it listing. Listing can be really, really important. Um, uh, you know, but what does it mean? Like, what are we doing? So yes, listing can be an important thing, but really, whether it's Cheetos, I loved your little title there. Cheetos, whatever dopamine we're going after, right?
Whatever
Uh,
dopamine we're seeking.
whatever
Yes.
dopamine we're seeking. So that is
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really the crux that you hit on when you asked about that. So maybe you're not eating Cheetos, maybe you're doing the checklist thing, but what is it that you're doing to seek
To
that instant
seek. Mm.
gratification? And recently or will or have or I don't know, but there's this idea that we have to stuff every spare moment of our day full of stuff, right? And then the question is, well, what's the motivation for that? Why do we do that? Is
Mm-hmm.
it because we don't even know how to be quiet or still or rest anymore? Why do we do
Or
these
is there
things?
something deeper? Is there some kind of trauma that makes rest feel unsafe?
Mm,
Sometimes something has happened in the past that if I sit and if I rest, that part of the brain goes online. Oh my gosh, something needs to be done. I need to get something done, and rest becomes unsafe.
not only that, as a mother, how often have or had it ever happened, certainly did to me, where one of your children hurt themselves while you were resting?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
That we're on, like, honest to goodness, once I had kids, my sleep, dude, the smallest noise, I have to sleep with a fan on so that every little sound doesn't wake me up because I'm hyper aware. Even when my daughter was living and she had morning sickness and she was living with us, before she had my grandson, it could be in the middle of the night. I could have six fans on in my room. I was going to hear her
Oh yeah.
and I was going to be awake. Like your brain, your mama brain doesn't,
Mama brain. I know. When
it's,
our
it's,
kids
it's
were
hyper vigilant.
when our kids were infants, we had them in the bassinet at the foot of the bed. My husband never heard them. Not once. Not once. Yes, I was breastfeeding. Yes, it was my job to feed them. But like literally, he didn't hear anything at all. Like men are not wired. They can be trained, their brain can be trained, yes, but just in general, totally not wired to hear that. But like something, I never wanted to be a mom. That wasn't something that was on my bucket list for life. Um,
And you definitely did the thing.
yeah, we have four kids and I wouldn't trade them
Poor
for
kids.
anything. I love them. And you can love yours and I'll love mine. And that's how that will work. But like something switched, like that switch flipped right on and total mom brain, like everything. Yeah. Dope. And this is all the happy hormones, all the
Hmm.
happy hormones, motherhood. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's not to say that there isn't postpartum depression or there isn't depression with motherhood.
Sure.
Like, it can get hard, especially if you feel like you're alone, especially if um, you're not having your own physical needs met. And when I mean that, I mean like your building blocks, your nutritional needs, your sleep
Yeah.
needs, your stress, your restoration needs,
When do I take a shower? How
like
do I do
seriously,
that?
can I just go to the bathroom without somebody knocking on the door? Right.
Yeah.
Now my youngest is 18
Yep.
now, and I've got a grandson,
Mhm.
and you know, there's it's so in a different place, but been through the other thing too. And
Mhm.
there's part of it never changes you. And then yet we've got some women listening who have never been moms. Maybe they wanted to be, maybe they didn't want to be for whatever reason. Some people are married, some people live on their own, some people are divorced. Some people are all of the above.
Well, one of the things that I love about our feminine experience is God designed us to bring life to the world. And life is not just children.
Yeah.
Life is not just children. Life, like, what if you're just the most amazing auntie to all of the nieces and nephews? Like,
Hmm.
that's bringing life to the world. My aunt, my dad's sister, she never had children of her own. She is the aunt that every kid should have. Like,
We have one of those, yeah.
everybody should have one, and she just brings so much life to the world around her. And that's part of what our feminine design is to bring life to the world, not
Yeah.
just
And
by
and
having
that
children.
creation, there's all different
Mhm.
ways we create. Sometimes we
Exactly.
create food, we can create art, we can create
Mhm.
safety for
I was
people. We
just
can
thinking the
create
same
respite.
thing. I was just thinking this how I was going to say safety.
Who are you?
I don't know. This is weird.
Uh so you know, so how does this tie back into this dopamine thing?
Yes.
What is this drive to always be feeling this hit of dopamine? Where did this come from in our society? Where did it come from where we can't sit in peace and joy and have that be fulfilling? Because this is I want to give an example, physiological example, because that's where I come from. This is the kind of analogy that I understand. You walk into a stinky room, like it smells,
Hmm.
dirty socks, whatever. You walk into a stinky room. You spend enough time there, you don't smell it anymore.
Correct.
Until somebody brings something in stinkier or you stick some essential oils aroma
Or you
up
walk
to your
out of the
nose and
room
you
and come
smell
back
that,
in.
or
Walk
you
out of the
walk
room,
out and
come
come
back in.
in. We get desensitized to this dopamine, right? We get desensitized. So if we're overly sensitizing ourselves and we don't take time to reset our perception, where whatever kind that is, it could be nose, eyes, spirit,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Our nervous system,
Hmm.
sleep is a
Hmm.
lot of times when that happens. we're not doing that very well anymore. We're sleeping like crap. We're staying up too late. We're in blue light. There's a lot of things getting in the way of our physical resetting, our physical restoration. Um, what are some of the things from your perspective that people are chasing to get this dopamine hit? Well, before I answer that, I was talking to somebody, even uh, one of the things is thinking that mistaking adrenaline and the highs from adrenaline and the feeling of energizing from adrenaline as necessary for joy, right? We're conflating two things that
Mhm.
aren't necessary, right? I don't know how to explain that better, but we make incorrect associations sometimes in our superpower brain. It's really good at associating, but sometimes it makes wrong associations. And
Correct.
and I think that this chasing of the dopamine stimulation as a proxy for joy is one of them. Did I say that in the in a way that makes sense?
I think so. I think so. And unfortunately, just about everything in our world right now is set up for that immediate hit. Um, Almost everything. I can go to Amazon and have something delivered in 2 hours. I can go and scroll. I don't have my phone in my hand, but scroll through my phone. And that is set up to give us that dopamine. Use
Cheetos.
Cheetos. Cheetos are well, that's the bliss point, right? We've talked about it, but I don't think we've
Yep,
explained the bliss point.
we
We've
may not
talked about
have.
it on another episode, but like our food is is designed in a
In a lab.
laboratory to hit that point of bliss in our brain so that we will continue to chase it.
Yeah.
Continue to
So
chase it.
the actual definition of the bliss point when it comes to food is the formulation of a particular food item that results in the maximum calorie intake. And so when they do food studies and they're testing different formulations and they bring people in, they look at the bliss point is exactly the formulation that results in the most eating. All right,
Mm-hmm.
so think about this, guys, when you're going to grab these foods that you feel are comfort foods. Why are they called them comfort foods? Because they're hitting the points. They're hitting that dopamine. It's dopamine, serotonin, it's sugar,
It's all the happy
you know,
hormones,
it's
all the
all the
stuff.
happy stuff. But it's being done to manipulate you. And in the
Mm-hmm.
end, it you need more and more and more often in order to it's like and people, we get really squirrely about saying food can be addictive because food is necessary for life. And people like to say, well, it's not addictive in the way an addictive drug is addictive, like tobacco or other types of things, which are very physiologically addictive. But behaviorally, we have to think about why is it that we're doing something, and what's feeding that whole entire cascade of
Mm-hmm.
of choices to eat these foods.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't, very sensitive to people with eating just, what might be considered an eating disorder or some sort of orthorexic food obsession or fixation. However, there is these these foods that hit the bliss point. The owners of these companies that are creating these foods were the addiction scientists that came from the tobacco industry. And this is history. You can read about this. This is
Mm-hmm.
not secret. This is not tinfoil hattie. This is real history. You can read the book Sugar, Salt, Fat by Michael Moss. And it's very clear. And he was an extremely good researcher. And he talks about all of this. I had to read it as a textbook in one of my, so it's a heavy read, but it's a really good book, and I've highlighted. I don't know why I bothered having a highlighter because literally it was
The
every
whole
line.
book
I'm
was
like, this
highlighted.
is
Yeah, I have
it's
those books.
ridiculous. The point is that you're right. We're getting this constant need, and
And just like with our stress levels, just like with our stress levels, if I live here all the time, I stop feeling it. I have to go up here to feel it more. And then when I stop feeling it there, I have to go even higher to feel it more. So it's the same. The dopamine.
Meanwhile, meanwhile, your menopause symptoms or perimenopause symptoms are freaking out. Your hot flashes, you're not sleeping, you're
Mm-hmm.
fainting, your temper,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
all these things are happening. You're gaining weight. You might even find yourself in with diseases of chronic inflammation. You might find yourself with insulin resistance or metabolic syndrome or cardiovascular disease or type 2 diabetes or Alzheimer's or like all of these things are associated together, fatty liver. And in a sense, it's this big, huge snowball of chasing satisfaction. And, you know,
And
there's a
satisfaction can be found in so many ways. It's not just the food, right? It's not
no, it's
just the
not
food.
just the food.
It's
It's
not
not,
just the
like you said, it's the
checklist.
checklists.
It's not
It's not
just the
just the food.
checklist. Like I can work out to excess. I can do good things to excess.
Hmm. Yeah. And so then the question becomes like, what does it look like to not do that? And I've had to train my body over the last 8 years, and it's taken that long. And I think I've made my biggest strides in the last year. This is ridiculous. I wish I had known these things earlier. I wish I had someone like me to tell me these things earlier, but I'm telling my girls now and they're younger, and I'm hoping that we can squeeze this earlier and earlier in life because um, we I'm learning how to be quiet. And the so again, I have to go back. I had stopped eating. I was eating too much sugar and things like that, and hitting that bliss point all the time. I started practicing, a different, way of eating, taking care of my health, and my sensation for sweetness became resensitized. So where I used to have to take a nice, ripe, very sweet strawberry and add sugar for it to taste good, I can have one that's slightly green at the top and it's most people would consider tart and not worth eating. And to me, it's bliss. It's the perfect sweetness,
Mhm.
right? Our biggest appreciation for things can happen when we're not getting them all the time.
Yeah.
So now that my grandson isn't living here every day, that certain kids aren't living here every day, I appreciate so much more when they are here. And I have so much more patience for them when they are here. And I can so much more,
Hmm.
uh, you know, and so then the question is, how do we, again, this is two good things, right? Where's this tension? We're holding in tension. We need to sit at the feet of Jesus. I love that you often bring up an image of just sitting at the feet of Jesus like a child, or
Hmm.
walking beside God, holding the hand
Holding
and
his
being
hand.
led and guided. And this idea of this relationship first, and saying, God, show me in your word, what is the blueprint for my life to have, to be and do what you would have me be and do. And I have been a Christian and following God since I was 17, and I'm just figuring this out.
Yeah.
My dad and I started having our daddy-daughter dinner dates about 7 or 8 years ago. And I've seen a lot of change in him, but I've been sitting at his feet at these dinners every month. We're having another one tonight. And I am learning so much of this wisdom from him as well.
Hmm.
And I thank God every day for that. I'm so lucky that my father on earth is a child of my father in heaven
Hmm.
and gets to share his decades more of wisdom with me. And you
Yeah.
know what? Things happened in his life later than they're happening for me. So it is getting earlier, right?
Yeah.
But what would we say to someone? Because remember now, you might think this is a trick question. If you're just sitting down all day doing nothing and you feel like you're lazy and no energy or whatever, are you chasing dopamine? Are you filling your day? Well, what are you doing? Are you on TV? Are you on your phone? Are you reading? Like,
Hmm.
what are you
Hmm.
doing? You're not
Hmm.
necessarily doing nothing. Like,
Just
there's,
sitting and doing nothing. Hmm.
you know, Because I was, it's immediately, I thought, oh, one of my kids, they're not doing anything. Well, my son is playing video games all day long on his days off, all day.
Mhm.
And then sleeping in between, maybe getting something to eat if I remind him, if he's
Mhm.
visiting. This is if he's
Mhm.
visiting.
And I think it's important to remember that God designed the world in a cyclical way. Going back to your strawberry analogy or strawberry, not analogy,
Yeah, well, it's my sugar sensitization.
sugar sensitization. There was a time in history where strawberries were not available every day of the year. There
Hmm.
was a time in history where we couldn't get everything all the time. And when we were going to get it, it was something to look forward to, something to be excited about,
To
and
savor.
something that we savored. Exactly. But because everything's available all the time now, 24/7, we don't have to wait for anything. Our sensitivity
Remember
is
when the circus would come to town?
remember?
Do you remember Barnum and
I
Bailey's?
I do remember when the circus would come to town. And it was
It
always
wasn't all the,
something to really look forward to.
hmm
Always something to look forward to. But where can we where can we choose a cyclical pattern in our lives? Some people choose to eat like what's in season, going to the farmer's market and only buying what's in season. But where can we make something in our life a little bit more cyclical instead of constantly 24/7?
Honestly, I love following the seasons in a lot of ways, not just for food. First of all, when we do that, especially if you're living where your family has always been, because there's something to be said for the genes that tend to express more in your body based on
Where you're
latitude on the
from.
planet. If you're from a tropical area and and your family's always been there, you're going to have actually a slightly different expression of genes. You're not genetically, like more amylase, less amylase, like more,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be different. But if you're where, like my family is still at the generally the same latitude as they've always been,
Mm-hmm.
it's a little harder now that we're more melting pot. But, in the winter, we slow down, we have less sunlight. We're inside more. It's warm, we eat a little more, we might gain a little bit of weight. That's there things are changing. It's a quieter time. And in the spring, we want to get out more. We start to come alive, just like the birds and the bees and the plants, right? We're going to be more active. We're going to get more done. We're going to be out and about more. There's a cyclical nature to the seasons when you're in a place that is seasonal, that there's the foods, there's the activities.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I see for me winter as a time of rest and restoration a little bit more than other times and in a different way. So it can look like that. I also cyclically like how I eat during the day in different times of year. Like I try to eat during sunlight
Mm-hmm.
so that my body's natural circadian rhythm is my food is tracking with my natural circadian rhythm,
Mm-hmm.
right? Things like that.
Yeah.
What else? What are some of the things that you're thinking?
I just thinking back to how our stress when we're feeling our stress gear all the time, it takes more for us to feel it. Just like you were talking about your sugar sensitivity level. If I'm here all the time, I have to have more and more and more to actually taste it. So where can I in my daily life let some of that go?
I think the circadian rhythm is a really great one, right?
Yeah, I think
When
so too.
we don't get light at the right times. We're getting blue light when we should be getting red light, and we're getting we're both light deprived during the day and light toxic at night.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But I'm also thinking about the Cheetos in the checklist. Like, is there a time where I could not use a checklist
mm,
and not seek that dopamine in that way?
for
Is
me, that's
is
Sundays. I don't do checklists on Sundays.
yeah.
Sundays are Sundays. That's my day where I feel no guilt about not even having to do a thing.
Yeah.
I'll make dinner,
Yeah. So,
whatever. I go to church,
yeah.
and it's our habit, our
But
standard to just hit the grocery store on the way home from church. But other than that,
I
it's
think the question though is like, where am I so where is it that my level is so high that I have to do even more to
for
feel
you,
to feel that relief? I mean, just I'm talking about anybody who's listening, like
anybody.
where in your life are you noticing that you have to go above and beyond to even feel that bliss again, that dopamine hit again? It, like I said at the very beginning, clean the kitchen, wipe the countertop, mop the floor, and list everything out. Could I just clean the kitchen? Do I need to have a list like that? Do I know how to clean my kitchen? Yes. So could I
Yeah, and
let that go?
there might be times where you need the list extra deep because you're needing to have a little bit of that positive reinforcement, like that little bit of motivation, get the ball rolling,
Mm-hmm.
activation energy, they call it in
Mm-hmm.
chemistry, like get that exothermic reaction going. But I'd say that if there were to be a formula for this, it would be identify the thing and wean yourself off of it.
Yes,
Start to
absolutely.
just decrease it, wean it, say, what would it look like if? If you're not sure, I mean, call a coach. You're talking to a couple, whatever, right? If you're not sure, but I mean, or a friend, a mentor, a wise person in your world, right? Pray about it. Find an example in the word, dig into it, but first acknowledge it, notice it, and recognize it for what it is. You're going to want to start dialing it back. You're going to start wanting to wean off of it so that you can appreciate it more when it has to happen, right? We need to start treating the evening. If we go back to before there was artificial light, there were
Yes.
candles and there were fires, and those were expensive. And so people would go to bed, they would stay up with the fire. Fire is
Mm-hmm.
very soothing. So it's not to say let's undo all of this modernity. It's not about that. It's saying, you know, how can we put that balance and that space and that margin back into our lives so that we can have appropriate levels of appreciation with appropriate levels of stimulation,
Yes. Yes.
you know?
And lower our tolerance for
Yeah.
dopamine
And we're
so
so
that
much less likely
so
to
that
burn out.
so that when I do get a hit of dopamine, I actually feel it
Yeah. Without burning out, without getting to
without
the
burning
point where
out.
you're having to burn it, you have to chase it so hard that
Right.
your body breaks down.
We don't want that.
We don't want that. Your body
No.
can break down because you're trying to do and accomplish, but it can also break down because you're trying to chase the good feeling, the
Mm-hmm.
happy feeling,
Mm-hmm.
right? So,
Because too
you
much of
know,
a good thing is still too
too
much.
much. Yeah. And we're not always going to live in joy and happiness. There are times where we need to have sorrow. We're supposed to have hills and valleys. There's some times where we're just enduring and it's just the Great Plains,
Mm.
right? That's the beauty of life. And for some
I was
reason,
just praying about that this morning. Like, God, I know that there are valleys, I know there are mountains, but I know that you're always walking right beside me. Like, I don't have to worry about my next step. I know exactly where I'm going to step because you're already stepping there.
how do you appreciate the mountain if you
Yeah.
don't have the
If you've
contrast?
never
How
had a
can you?
valley.
Yeah. So we have to allow life, and we're going to learn from those things. We
Yep.
learn in the valley,
Yes. So that we can experience the mountaintop
and so we can
and
teach
enjoy
other
it
people about the valley,
and teach other people about the valley so they can get to the mountaintop too. Yeah.
right? So the whole entire experience that we're having um, is meaningful in total, the good and the bad,
Mm-hmm.
the happy and the sad.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and our world has created a situation where you're told that you should always feel good. And I don't think that's to our betterment. I think it's led to a lot of disordered behavior and expectations that are stealing the joy
Mm-hmm.
from people.
Yep.
So, what are we asking our listeners for today?
What can you do with what you now know? We want to hear. Tell us in the comments.
Yeah.
What
Is
hit
there,
home for you today? Like what is it that really was like, oh, a moment. Yeah.
yeah, we'd love to know. We'd love to know what you want to hear more about too.
Yep.
But I hope that this has shed some light on some things for you today. I'd love to know what that dopamine you're chasing is, what that might look like to, what's one thing you would do differently?
Yeah.
Just one small thing you start doing differently.
Awesome.
That's
All
where we
right.
start, is just that one step. So awesome.
Well, I'm going to go make my next checklist. Thanks for joining us for today's conversation on heart and soul elevation.
If this episode encouraged you, tell us about it in the comments and share it with a friend. Remember that healing happens in community.
Be sure to subscribe to the show and click the bell so you never miss an episode. And come back to join us for more faith first conversations where we grow together in real time.
Until then, keep your eyes on Jesus, care for the body he gave you,
And may his peace guard your heart and mind.